Hey, it's me again. Okay, so this is your second tutorial. In this tutorial, like I said, we're going to be using the Pathfinder tool, which is probably one of the main tools we use in Photoshop, Illustrator, sorry, quite a lot. Which is weird because it isn't actually anywhere in the main tool palette or on the right hand side. We actually have to open this tool up manually. But like I said, it's the main kind of tool that gets used. So Pathfinder, you can find it under Window and Pathfinder. You'll notice that some of these have got arrows next to it. That just means that they're open at the moment. So yeah, Pathfinder, it's about halfway down under P, and the shortcut is Shift, Control and F9. Never used that before. I normally just either have it open all the time or just do this manually. But yeah, shortcuts are good. Learn the shortcuts, it makes you work a lot quicker. Right, so Pathfinder opens. Sometimes it's got like more options next to it, like align and transform, but which yours might have. But this is pretty much what we're working with. So it's up to you. You can either just have it floating kind of around the page, or you can dock it to the right hand panel if you want. It depends how you prefer to work. I generally like having it just here and then closing it down when I'm not using it, but some designers prefer to grab the actual tool and then just dock it to the right hand side somewhere. So anywhere where it goes blue, you can then embed it into one of these tabs here. But yeah, I like to have it just floating around the page. Cool, so Pathfinder, it lets you divide, it lets you subtract shapes, it lets you join shapes together, and it lets you crop shapes, and each one of these buttons does a different thing. So what I want you to do is just grab a couple of random shapes, just a square or rectangle, keep your finger on the shape tool and then go down to ellipse and then just put an ellipse on there. So I think what we're going to do is, yeah, let's make a bridge. Why the hell not? Okay, I'm just going to change the colour of that so you can see what's kind of going on. Okay, so how Pathfinder works, it always gives preference to the shape that's on top as opposed to the shape that's underneath. So if I want to cut this kind of arch out of this square, the arch has to be on top in order to do it. So at the moment it's just plonked on top, but this is how it works. So if we select both of these objects, there's two ways to do it. The quick way to do it, so it's always good to learn the quick way, is just to make, with the main selection tool, just make a little selection around both the objects, and then both of the objects are selected. Likewise, you can select one object at a time, hold Shift on the keyboard, keep your finger on that, and then press another one, and that selects multiple things at the same time. It's up to you how you prefer to work. I prefer just to do this. So there we go. Cool, so both are selected. Let's look at the Pathfinder. If you hover over each one of those buttons, it tells you what they do. You've got the Unite key, which unites those two shapes together, which I'll do in a second. You've got minus, which we're going to be doing in a sec. Intersect, exclude, divide, trim, merge, and crop. The main ones that I use are Unite, minus, divide, and crop. I very rarely use exclude, and I very rarely kind of click on merge because Unite does pretty much the same thing. Cool, so both of them selected, and then let's click on minus. So when I click minus, this happens. The shape that was on top disappears, and how it kind of cut into the shape was the shape that kind of already existed. So because at this point to this point kind of cut into this kind of square shape, it cuts that shape out permanently, which is nice. So then you can just reshape anything and make whatever you want, which is good. Likewise, you can add and unite kind of shapes together. So if I wanted to kind of have this kind of coming out of there like that, I can first of all unite these two shapes together using the Unite button and you can see that they're no longer two separate shapes, they're one shape, and now I can select that shape and then add that shape to it. So I seem to have made some weird nipple. Okay, let's go with it, it's fine. Okay, makes sense. So subtract subtracts the top shape from the bottom shape. Unite adds the top shape to the bottom shape. So there we go. So let's look at divide, which is this one here. So I'm just going to make some kind of more shapes on there. And again, I'm just changing the colour of these shapes just so you can see them kind of next to each other. You don't often have to do that. Lovely pink or cyan. No, magenta, sorry. Let's have this one a cyan. Okay, so all these kind of ellipses or circles are all overlapping each other, and they're all crossing over. Where is my Pathfinder gone? There we go. So if we select all of them, again one at a time, or you can make a little selection around everything, and hit the divide key, look what happens. Oh, nothing happens. Well, nothing kind of seems to have happened, but actually quite a lot has happened. If we zoom into it, every point that crossed over has now become a separate selectable shape. So these shapes we can now deselect and move away. So we've kind of got the kind of starting of possibly like an umbrella shape here. If you were to maybe have more kind of shapes cut into it, or bat, you could put like a little thing on its head and kind of make a Batman kind of symbol, ish anyway. Yeah, so you can kind of subtract and just take parts away and see what's kind of like left over. Really nice way of making logos, this is. So if you want to kind of make kind of like something that has like a flower kind of like petal kind of like feel, you can do it kind of using this method as opposed to kind of just drawing it manually, which is quite cool. Yeah, so again, left over, take them away, you've suddenly got kind of like that shape. If you want kind of like a nice balanced shape like that, you've got that shape, and then you can just play around with them, and then even just kind of reorientate them and see what you can kind of make out of what's left over, and so on. So that's the divide tool. So just to recap, Pathfinder is found under Window, Pathfinder, so you need to make sure it's selected, and it works by overlapping shapes. So there's no point of having that shape there and that shape there and trying to unite them, because nothing will happen, because the two aren't connected. They have to overlap in order to either unite, subtract, or divide them. So there we go. Everyone's a winner. So you want to make a semicircle. What do? Well, you start off with a circle. You kind of realise, okay, well, I've got to split that in two, surely, in order to make a semicircle. So you then go back to your rectangle tool, put a rectangle over the bottom, and either use the subtract or the divide tool in order to divide them up. And then you can delete the kind of crap that's left over, really. So there we go, Pathfinder, done, easy peasy. Have a play about with it and see what you can do. Done. Adios.